Okay, good morning. It's what, the 7th? I'm pretty sure. You might find out from a day or two off on that. I think it's the 7th of what? November 2022. All right. Besides the Trivial Pursuit, I wanted to tell you this morning about my theory since there's some evidence. I could say I know when I don't really know, but this is really a strong theory. Do you know how someone fights like a dog? You know the reference. Fights like a dog, right? You know what I'm saying when you talk about, like, compare your ligaments and your skeleton system and stuff like that. Like, maybe you might take the child's divine side when the story, wasn't it G.I. Joe that had Skeletor or something like that? I can't remember all these kids shows, but Skeletor, you remember there was Skeletor, right? So when you have a powerful person that knows that your skeleton and your tendons are very much the likeness and divinity to the energy we call psychic self, they're the closest correlating to the psychic self, that inner man in you and me. You see what I'm saying? And the skeleton and the tendons and things like that. We won't go all through a whole thing, but the divine spirit, great and terrible, duality to compare, and equal and opposing forces. Thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene said at a Trump rally. And equal and opposing forces, like the value that you find energy wise in fire and water and earth and air, right? And fire and earth and water and air, right? Equal and opposing and in a balance, one against the other, always resisting one another, at least unless going with one another. In fair comparison, if you destroy yourself, I shall destroy you. Like the Japanese Aikido, where I make your strength my strength and you ran at me and I just simply took your force and put you into the wall with your head. You know, taking a drink of water and I ran up behind you and pushed your face into the water fountain. Okay, a display of that type of energy. So then you got Magneto. Remember the character in what show was it that had Magneto in it? I forget. Power Rangers or something. It wasn't Power Rangers. Magneto was in there. I forget, X-Men or something like that. X-Men had Magneto, right? Everything was just coming to him, right? Well, energy. Now, you have a skeleton and you have a tendon system that makes things grab and jerk at stuff, right? You've had people report in books and stuff that suddenly they just grabbed that. Suddenly they had that. Suddenly that took place and was perfect, an act of perfection. One time when I was young, and I won't say who it was with, I woke up in the middle of the night with this girl that I was with, having sex. I won't lie. It was my betrothed, you know what I'm saying? So in the middle of the night, don't worry about all them details. Just look, in the middle of the night, both of us woke up. Listen to me. In the still of the night, when we, like that song, In the Still of the Night, we woke up and bam, look, and bam, you couldn't have hit it any perfecter than like a couple of dogs that hook up. You've ever had dogs in heat? Suppose the dog bites and hits you fast and hard, doesn't make contact. That perfect. Doesn't make contact. The dog run up and bite. This happened when I was a kid too, and bite. But you have to look and see if you're bit. The dog bites you, but it knows it stops its teeth before it makes one mark. Back to the Skeletor. Back to the tendons in your body. And reports in books of demons. This guy told it. I was reading a book. He says, the minute I said that it was okay for that demon to come into my heart, while he was doing an exorcism. You see what I'm saying? That As soon as he thought, he said, take me instead, the girl. You know what I'm saying? Probably the demon used telepathy to give him the words to say it while he was grab bagging for what he was going to say, like the movies that they show you. He said, take me. About the time he thought that, he ended up with the demon. He said he got up and he was grabbing at stuff and his body had been overthrown by a demon. We're not doing that. In the name of Bezhat Yahshua, we're not doing that. In the name of the blood of my King and the power of the Almighty, we're not doing that. I'm not willingly under any divine laws. You see what I'm saying? That law, like if you destroy yourself, I'll destroy you. If you go to that water fountain and I want to take my hand and push, catch you with your power going towards that water fountain, you see it? Okay. And the good and terrible and the great and terrible, you see, there's the two equal and opposing forces created. All right? Created by a divine source. There's a divine source. Perfect. Great and terrible. Perfect. Black and white. Day and night. The night always conquers the day and the day always conquers the night. So in the beginning of things, when the duality started, when the duality began, and I'm listening, and the devil and God, and the reason I say the devil, they've got names written down, but unless you do know, you don't know. So this is what they have written down. And I would love how you know. That's what I would love to know, how you know, right? If you can substantiate, then you might have something. Substantiate what you know. So in the beginning of that, when God created everything, the devil, whether it be Lucifer or Satan, oh, they got a string of names. Beelzebub, different ones, the devil. They got a names wrote down. I don't know. I read 5 of them the other day. So the one I'm going to tell you is the devil. I haven't been shown to be able to lay it down in a way that I can substantiate all that. So the point I'm making right now is that I had this given to me. So right now, listen, when the devil stands up to God, right? You're taught that God created everything. I mean, don't forget that the demiurge created everything you and I know about. Seen and unseen. Do you understand me? Seen and unseen. In the realm of spirit, seen and unseen. That was all created that we know about, at least by report. When the Jews came through, what books you had that didn't get burnt, books that got burnt, everything. So you have a creator God that you put as Jehovah Adonai, that he's the creator God. Luciferians say that Lucifer was the creator God. So Jesus comes through and says that, the evil demiurge created all the profound world. At least that's what you have written down. That's how I would substantiate. I would have to connect a lot of dots for you if I wanted to tell you I could know that. And then you better not be able to come in. If you want to do a true science, you can't come in with anything that kinks that up either. So I'm going over here with it, and I'm going to say that when the devil looked at God and said, you created me from fire. Listen to me now. This is important. You created me from fire. And remember the rest. I shall not bow. And he added, as best I got in anything I've read, and you created the rest of them from earth. That type of equality. When the witches look at and the alchemists even, if you give way to that, they look at the earthen qualities. The Native Americans taught their warriors learn about the qualities, like the alchemy, the fire qualities and stuff, and what it's in, and identify it, know it, and understand it, feel it, run it through your fingers. So, and you created the rest of them out of earth. I was created from fire, and I shall not bow. Hear it? And I was created from fire, and I shall not bow. Now, when you go through life, listen to me. When you go through your life, divinity speaks to you. Yes or no, right? Either it does or it doesn't. Well, if it doesn't, you might want to start listening. That's all I tell you. Take my word for it or not, you might want to start listening to the divine that's in all things, the great and terrible that's in all things. What does that say unto you? People, places, circumstances, and things all help you see what the divine might say to you. Don't forget the non-physical. What are you feeling? That is created also by the evil demiurge. If all that was created by the evil demiurge, which evil demiurge created it? Here's an oddity. Let me finish what I was making it. Let me finish. When the dogs fight, the point I was making was when the dogs fight, or like wild cats or something that's got all that force going into it that you and me might approach during a fight. But when you say that a person fights like a dog, then that strength and that guidance that comes from the Almighty, and if you have favor from the Almighty and your directions are with the Almighty, the best of things that will happen in most cases, outside of this factor that you won't never really die anyway. Energy never dies, it just changes forms. That's my lesson so far. So you can look that up in people's teachings all across the internet and things. Energy never dies, it just changes forms. Compare it to the sunlight going through a plant, going through an animal. It loses a little power, but it always is. That power just never completely goes away once the animal gets the energy from the sun. So you can compare that all out in dimensions of the same thing. And that goes on in these people, places, and circumstances and things, dimensions, including the feelings. And I got that feeling when that was going on. So when you compare it all out, now an evil demiurge made everything you and me know about, but we're in it. We're in it with the knowledge that the evil demiurge made it. If there wasn't, that knowledge that we could say, hey, this is an evil demiurge, right? So, so we know that we're in some creation, in the lot of it, right? Don't forget that all those elements are here. Don't forget that all those elements are here with us. Fire and earth and air and water, they're all here. And don't forget the divine that is also with us, the divine being great and terrible. Maybe a crayon or a piece of paper, the medium that you use, like whichever it was, Jehovah Adonai, or was it Lucifer, whichever one it was. Listen to me now. Just be quiet. Somebody's thinking to me and saying, we can't have that while I'm talking. So, like a dog, like that sex thing that went on, perfection. I mean, perfection you don't understand. Bite, but not tear the skin. And hit you with force enough that you better get up and go find out if the child's all right. Yeah. The animal can hit and not leave a tooth print wide open. Scare the life out of you. Whatever that dog needed to convey to you got done that forcefully from the Almighty that was in agreement, both great and terrible, with that movement. So, Skeletor being a hint and all that, somebody can get in there and gain a certain amount of control. Depends on the favor they have with the what? The Almighty. There's where you got to make a separation. You got to understand there's a separation between either Lucifer or God. There's a separation there where there's a divine that's both of them, that created that duality that's in all things, two dogs within all things, that made them. So listen to me now. And inside these things is this same spirit, right? You made me. Listen to me now. I'm going to do it like an evangelist. You made me out of fire. And when the devil told God that, it's like, listen to me. It's like when the dog fight happens and that much control is on the tooth of that animal that it can hit you that hard. In the dog fight, when that much perfection takes place, when the devil looked at God and whatever depiction you're willing to give religious people believe in, then like the dog fight that goes down perfectly like the dog bite, The perfection is that when the devil said to God, you made me out of fire, and you made the rest out of out of earth, comparing the qualities to earthen. I shall not bow. And you can feel the fire, right? Now that's operating in everything. And don't think that being can sit there before the devil and not have every single one of those elements in it. You'll find it in alchemy that all the elements must be there, the right balance, including the non-physical level that has to have consistency, whether it goes all the way down to, thank you, all the way down to steel as hard as what you call, what's that stuff they made, the atom that they split to cause the nuclear, what's it called, uranium, and the molecule, the atom in it gets split and it causes so the energy behind that, boom, comes from the great and terrible, you see. So when the duality occurs at the perfect and same time, even, it probably isn't perfect. It's probably perfect from the divine that knows who's on top and who's going to win and who created and everything, who got used as a medium to do it. Everything. The divine knows that. And the divine in you knows that. And the divine in me knows that until it comes to the surface. We don't know. But like the Skeletor issue, the inner man can say, even if a flesh is developed before or after, if it assesses like you made me, okay, the devil says to God, you made me out of fire. How does he do that? Because he is me and I am him, because the same divine is in both of those. It wouldn't be. The alchemy has that there's a certain amount of each element to make each being, including the non-physical spirit stuff that was still made by an evil demiurge. Well, Jesus covered all the bases, if you ask me, because the like the dog part that does the fighting. Not that the conscious dog is that smart and everything, but the dog fight part where he's hitting and able just to let loose, just like it was free. You know, you got to be free. And at that instance, he was free. You see? So I found books like the Book of Judas that Jesus says, I'm not under the same God you're under. You hear me? I'm not under the same God that you're under. To Judas in a talk they were having. And there's this, can I say that? Please do. Thank you, my friend Alien. It might be my God. If I am, Jesus says, that's not my God, Judas. That would be, Judas was a Jew. You see, that would be Adonai. Add on I, additional I, like a cyclops. There's many dimensions to add on me. Another me, I am you and you are me. I am him and he is me. Yeah, the devil is God. Yeah, because the same divine is in each one. There's two gods when you get down to trying to explain it. They were both created by the same divine, and they have a name that Jesus names, but it's written down in English, so I don't really try to remember it. Yalzabaoth, something like Yalzabaoth. I'm still trying to get straight. I just got up with that God and talking to him. Jesus says, where there's one God, where there's two gods, where there's three, there's where you'll find me. So I'm talking to this God, right? But Yalzabaoth, who is evil, we're doing really good. But see, I'm evil and you're evil. You made me out of fire, and I will not bow. Look you right in the eye and tell you that. And you're God and I'm the devil. Who's going to be the devil? You made me. Like a child hollering, you made me. Where the fire going to come from? You made me. When that kind of fire is going on, you can get in a heck of a shape if you deal with that child. Yalzabaoth is a brownish-headed alien It got kind of a brownish, but he can change colors and anything like that. That's not difficult. But as it appears to me, it's kind of like a brown headed alien. Big headed alien. Brownish. Kind of like Ethiopia is, or something between a black person and a white person. Kind of an olivish brown. You know the brown ones that really look kind of olivish brown. So Yalzabaoth is what he told me his name is. I gotta look into it and verify it and all that, reproof. But if I, given the wisdom that comes to me, were to choose a God at all, knowing that Jesus bled to the divine and that there's no being, given this message I just conveyed, more powerful than the divine is, and the divine sacrifice was made. So I shouldn't really fear that Jesus said there was an evil dead marriage, because I know that evil's in me and you know that it's in you, and that's a reality. That's an earthen quality. You know what I'm saying? That's a tangent. So I'm not really afraid of Yalzabaoth because I believe in the divine and the divine sacrifice. Blood, right? Blood is very important. However, if I'm to bow and need a God at all, which I can't get up there to do any kind of warfare other than the divine that the blood was made, sacrificed to. So if I bow at all, it'll be to that one God, Yalzabaoth, who came before Jehovah Adonai, who came before Lucifer. And he told me, he said, whether I can check it or not right now, I'll check it for verification, but he said that he was even before. He said they're babies. The Elohim, the ones that said, let's make them like us, playing with humanity, let's make them like us. They don't tell you that. But Yalzabaoth says they're babies. He's like the head alien that created even God and the devil. By the time you get through them making us like them, and the Elohim, they called God, the Jews called God Elohim. He's a lot like them. So how many realms and dimensions of it takes to get through, I don't know if I can write all that down and put it in the right place. I guess eventually, nothing's impossible with God, right? The great and terrible. So one of my main key things, besides Yalzabaoth being the God that I would choose, if I need anybody to handle things up there for me, since I can't do but so much down, other than the prayer to the divine, which is plenty. But if I need Yalzabaoth, that would be my God, the one that created Jehovah Adonai, the one, your God, the one that created Lucifer or Satan, the fiery side of Yalzabaoth. Told you it was evil. But that's when you get into the head of that big brown headed alien. That don't mean all the brown headed people's evil. Just don't bring them out. You know what I'm saying? Who sparked that off, right? Who sparked that off? So I don't really sweat it. Because look, I'm evil like you are. So bless Yalzabaoth and all his children, because Yalzabaoth is probably the God that Jesus was really under. And as far as the devil saying to God, remember the story about the tendons and the teeth, and how the dogs fight and have that lightning power and fast. You made me. Remember the child? You made me. Well, somewhere in there, you'll find what's going on in divinity back through the Elohim and back as babies and Yalzabaoth, the big-headed supreme being. So if it was me, that would be my God. I'm going to talk to Yalzabaoth, hang out with Odin, different ones. Sorry, Odin. I didn't mean to let that slip. Beep. I'll see you later, brothers and sisters. Peace to you and peace profound.